An immediate encounter with a strange water creature. August 7, 2019. In October 1907, a remarkable and terrifying encounter with an aquatic monster took place on the Solomez River in Colombia. An immediate encounter with a strange water creature. Images for illustrative purposes only, not related to the case. The story came from a respected German explorer and adventurer, Franz Hermann Schmidt, who, along with a companion, Captain Rudolf Flang, who spent weeks exploring the wildest areas of Colombia and looking for everything wild and wonderful. He certainly found what he was looking for, or at least one of those things. After 12 days along the Solomez River, Schmidt, Flang and their indigenous guides came to a remote valley, covered with dense vegetation and fed by a small shallow lake. The whole team was excited but also disturbed to see a series of huge trails leading to the lake, trails that were unrecognizable like anything conventional. In addition, there was evidence that whatever came off the trails was feeding on the leaves of certain trees at a height of about 4.5 meters. In other words, this creature was formidable and huge. The next day, something amazing happened. As Schmidt, Flang, and their guides drifted through the canoe waters of the lake, they suddenly heard loud bangs and splashes coming from the thick vegetation from the shore to the right. The guides, seeming to have some pre-existing awareness of the hiding beast, vanished from sight, panicked, and furiously shuffled their canoes away from the edge and into the central portion of the lake. In Schmidt's own words, there was a sudden scream between them, something big and dark, half hidden among the branches, rose between them and there was a great commotion. One of the excited Indians began rowing the boat away from shore, and before we could stop it, we were 30 meters from the waterline. We could see nothing now, and the Indians refused to return, while neither Flang nor I bothered to set aside our rifles to row. There was a great wave of plants and a sound like the heavy slapping of a large oar, mingled with the screams of some of the monkeys moving quickly from the lake. One or two who were injured or held back screamed, then their screams ceased. For 10 full minutes there was silence, then the vegetation began to stir again and, returning to the lake, we saw the frightening monster I will now describe. Scary was a very appropriate word for Schmidt to use, as his following words make clear. The head appeared on bushes 3 meters high. It was the size of a beer keg and was shaped like a tapir, as if its muzzle were used to pull or hold things. The eyes were small and dull and settled like an alligator's. Despite the half-dry mud, we could see that the neck, which was much like a snake, was thicker in proportion, as rough as an alligator's side than on the back. Evidently the animal saw nothing strange about us, if it noticed us, and advanced until it was no more than 50 feet away. We could see part of the body, which I should think was 2.40 to 2.75 thick at the shoulders, if that word could be used, since there were no front legs, just some big clawed fins. The surface was like that of the neck. The Indians did not run away, but seemed fascinated. As far as I was concerned, I would have waited a little longer, but Flang raised his rifle and shot him in the head. I'm sure it hit between the eyes and that the bullet must have hit something with bones, horns or very hard, because it cut the branches of a tree higher and then after it hit. I fired when Flang fired again and aimed at the base of his neck. The animal remained perfectly still now. He lowered his muzzle to where I had hit him and seemed to bite him, but there was no blood or any sign of real pain. As fast as we could shoot, we shot him 7 times, and I believe everyone got it right. The bullets seemed to bother the creature, but not to hurt it. Suddenly she plunged forward in a clumsy and awkward manner. The Indians had disbanded, and both Flang and I lost sight of her when she entered the water. I was very anxious to see her hind legs if I had any. I looked again just in time to see her back protruding from the earth, a heavy blunt tail with coarse, horny chunks. The head was still visible, though the body was hidden by the ripple. From this instant opportunity, I must say that the creature was 10 meters long, with at least 3.5 of them dedicated to the head and neck. In 3 seconds there was nothing to be seen except the waves of muddy water, the motions of growing at the water's edge, and a monkey with its useless backs pulling up on a tree trunk. As the Indians paddled frantically away, I put a bullet in the poor thing to let him out of his misery. We had not advanced 100 yards before Flang called me and pointed to the right. Above the water, 200 meters away, was the head and neck of the monster. It must have dived and gone right under us. After a few seconds of looking, he began to swim toward us, and as our bullets seemed to have no effect, we paddled hurriedly. Losing him behind an island, we didn't see him again and were very pleased. Whatever the monster's true identity was, it escapes us today, as did Schmidt and Flang in 1907.